Bob Chapek has been fired. Bob Iger is back. I've been thinking about that shot since last night, putting that statement with that reaction. It is a time to rejoice for a lot of fans of Disney parks. It is time to rejoice. I know it feels like, it feels incorrect. It feels like out of line. I preach kindness, but man, was I not a fan of Bob Chapek's leadership, and for good reason. And a lot of you out there as well are probably thinking the same thing. I know that this was a very popular move by the Disney company. And rather than sit down and do another video from the desk, I thought I would riff a little bit here on a few of the topics that are going to be tangential related to this discussion. We're going to walk around the park. I'm going to cover a few of those. What should we expect going forward from Iger, from the Disney company, what this means, and along the way, maybe get some few more thoughts and opinions from guests out there. All that's coming up next. And it couldn't have come at a better time of year. It is the holidays, it is the Christmas season. It's a time of giving, and we have been given a gift. We have new hope, new leadership at the Disney company. A leadership that we are very familiar with and fond of. I think that most people would agree that Iger was a popular president, which cannot be, it cannot be understated. Eisner, he was great for the Disney company, but at the end of his reign, he was not very well thought of, and to the fact that he was forced out. Chapek, it hasn't gone his way ever since he took over. Things did not go his way. Chapek's issues, hit the ground running. Now I figure there are three key components to this Chapek to Iger transition, at least as it relates to Disney Parks fans. And after all, that's why we're here. You and I were Disney Parks fans. We are the fans of Disney company, but above all else, we're fans of Main Street streetcars or Main Street vehicles. Three things: annual passes, reservations, Genie Plus, and Layton. What is the future? That's what everybody wants to know about first and foremost. What is the future of those three very important issues that have been integral to our dissatisfaction with the Disney parks over the last couple of years, dissatisfaction under the Chapek presidency. Those are the things that have made us the most upset. Guys, I got some Disney Parks fans. So your name and where you're from?
Joy.
Chris and Joy? Oh, and hi. And where are you guys from?
Yorba Linda.
Okay, so you're locals.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the news, the Chapek to Iger?
The best ever.
Really?
Once they take care of getting rid of the reservations, I think we'll have a perfect storm here.
That's number one on your list?
Number one.
I feel like a lot of us would agree with that.
When the weather turns bad and you want to go to Disneyland, then and your reservation's not available, it's...
What's more than being a Southern California resident than going to Disneyland whenever you feel like it, right? All right, thanks guys. Now, this conversation begins with the premise, the understanding that Chapek was fired. Okay, he didn't quit because he wanted to spend time with his family, or that he was sick of running the Disney company. He was fired. Obviously, it was one of those, you need to step down, or we're going to fire you kind of situation. So he did. Collected his $20 million golden parachute, and he's going to go spend the next couple of years in Barbados because he's probably unhireable for a little while now. And if we begin with that premise, we begin with that understanding, we also have to understand that if they did fire him, they fired him for cause. Chapek bad, okay? So if Chapek bad and they want to hire somebody like Iger, who is probably the only person that they could have hired on such short notice, and it's probably the reason why they didn't fire Chapek to begin with, because Iger didn't make himself available, but he is now. We begin with the understanding that Iger is the kind of guy, the antithesis of the Chapek era. The whole point of doing that is to undo the things that Chapek did. what are the things that Chapek did? Chapek is known, obviously, as a data guy. He's a numbers guy. He comes from the parks. He was the president of parks for a long while, but before that, he was about data, and specifically, actually, he is known for. Not everybody knows this. A lot of people do. You guys have heard of the Disney Vault? You know how they used to, when they would release the Disney movies on VHS, and then they would be out for a couple of months, and then they take them away for a year or two. That was Chapek's idea, and he used that system of false scarcity. He brought that over to Disneyland, creates scarcity with the reservation system, creates scarcity with Genie Plus, and he creates scarcity with getting rid of the annual pass program, or trying to make it more or more restrictive. Though that's what he's known for then. The 30 things that we talked about: the reservation system, Genie Plus, Lightning Lane, and annual passes. So it stands to reason that those are the things, as far as Disney Parks is concerned, those are the things that we could expect to be undone. Now, what that timeline means, I don't know. I feel like the reservation system could be, or probably will be, the first pin to fall. I feel like that's going to be one of the first things to go, because that is probably the key thing that has led to so much of the dissatisfaction with Disneyland guests. Disneyland specifically. Less so at Walt Disney World, because they're already kind of used to that type of system. But I think the same thing would apply there at Disney World as well, and throughout the parks around the country. I'm expecting the reservation system to end, yes. I just don't know when. Now, we've only got 2 years. According to the announcement that we know so far, is that Iger's new contract is a 2-year contract. That's not a lot of time. So he's got to get a lot done in that time. And we're going to get back to that conversation in a minute. But if that's the case, if it is just a 2-year plan, then it's going to be certainly less than that. I feel like the reservation system could be over by the new year. That's what I think. I also do think that by the new year, it seems reasonable to expect annual passes to be back. I think that's a key component, at least here at Disneyland. That's a key component. Annual passes are so fundamental to the operations of Disneyland that I don't think that they ever fully realized that or understood that under the Chapek era. I'm not expecting it to happen right away, because I think that they want to get through this holiday season with as little disruption as possible. To change things, the park's not ready for more guests, to be honest. The park is not ready. We are still super short-staffed here at Disneyland. It has been an ongoing situation. Hopefully, I should say part of the reason for that is just the poor morale here. Cast don't want to stay here. Cast don't want to work here. They start here, but they don't like how things are going, which, by the way, is a conversation we could be having also about other management, Josh D'Amaro and Ken Potrock. We're going to get back to that in a minute, too. But before they can even start letting more people into this park, they have to figure out cast, and that could take a minute. That's going to take a little while, so I'm not expecting that to happen right away, annual passes. Just hits different now, doesn't it? That's all I can think about, is that this ride hasn't changed. Hi guys, how are you? Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. I know. Hey. Okay, we've had some new fans here. What's your name? Where are you from?
Nancy.
Kevin.
Okay.
We're from Torrance.
Torrance.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So you're more locals then.
Local, yeah.
All right. What do you guys think? Are you guys thinking that the Chapek to Iger transition?
Well, I think it was time for a change.
Yeah, you agree?
The way the increase in the prices, especially being annual pass holders, it was time for a change,
What was the number one issue for you guys? Was it prices?
Reservations.
That's going to be a common thing, I have a feeling.
Yeah. And then, of course, prices, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you get discounts, but then we're back to $20 for Genie Plus.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day today.
Thank you.
So cute. That's so cute. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Anyway, what was I saying? It's the same ride. Teacup, same ride as it was before, but it's hitting different now, man. You can feel like a weight has been lifted off of so many people. At least maybe it's my own perception. Maybe I'm projecting on them, but I feel much lighter and freer today than I have in the parks in the past. I've been able to appreciate Disneyland, the park, in spite of everything, but it just feels so much easier now. And that leaves Genie Plus and Lightning Lane. I do think, oh, there they are again. Hi guys, bye guys. I do think that we are not long for this system, at least as we know it today. I feel like it's possible that we could regress back to a Max Pass type situation. That's a whole conversation on why Max Pass is better than Genie Plus. It's a very nuanced and complicated discussion. But I think for the short term and maybe even the medium term, we're probably going to have to continue to endure Genie Plus simply because you can't just undo it. I don't know how easy that would be for them to just undo it, considering how much time and effort and money they've put into that project. But I do think that it's at least another reasonable assumption to make that there may be an end to that system. Personally, I was not actually a huge fan of Max Pass, to be honest. When they were talking about Max Pass, I didn't like it. We had a lot of conversations. I said they're boiling the frog. I said that about Max Pass before it was a thing. When all we had was free Fast Pass, I said they're boiling the frog. And here we are. That was what, 7 years ago? I don't even know how long it was. But they've been boiling that frog ever since then. I was very prescient then, and it is the case today. So, but the concept, the idea of paying for Fast Pass does not appeal to me at all, even under Max Pass conditions. I went with it because they included it in your annual pass, so it was like it didn't really affect me.
That's the risk of calling out the depth bar, so you can avoid running away. You begin on your right, not just a daily sound.
You mentioned that Iger has just 2 years to get this done. This is a good point to give everybody a little bit of, or ask for a little bit of patience and understanding, in the sense that he's got a mandate, okay? And that mandate may or may not include being the messiah or the champion of the everyman that comes to Disney parks. I mentioned this in our live stream last night, that people they possibly might think that he's just going to come in and change everything overnight and snap his fingers and everything will be back the way it was. Iger's era was not perfect. And Iger, he's going to be able to do some things. There's going to be other things that he won't be able to do. I feel like first and foremost, Iger's job is to restore faith and trust in Disney brand, restore the Disney brand, and then to find a successor. If the plan is just for 2 years, that's all he's got. It may take that long alone, or that whole time, just to find something to replace him in 2024, at the end of December 31st, 2024, which is when his contract is up. He could spend that entire stretch looking for somebody to replace him, somebody that the Disney company can trust and somebody that we can trust, as opposed to taking whatever he can get with the Chapek situation. We all kind of know what happened there. Or at least we kind of inferred it, that he wasn't thrilled with Chapek being president. But what else? He wanted out, and the fact that he came back, and for not a lot of money, the contract is $1 million per year with a bonus around $25 million, performance bonus, whatever, which is pretty typical. I mean, I think Chapek got that much by himself. He got $30 million. So it wasn't the money that brought him back. It was the ability to have more control over how the company is run and represented. That's what he's back for. He's back to restore things. So I don't know what priority things are going to have. You know, he may allow, part of his job may just be to allow people like Josh tomorrow to do their jobs. People like Pete Docter over at Pixar, Kathleen Kennedy at Lucasfilm. Which, by the way, that's another conversation we may get into. But from what I understand, this may or may not be the last move by the Disney board. There may be more things to come. And those are the 3 titles. President of Lucasfilm, President of Pixar, President of Parks are the 3 titles that may or may not be up for renew. You know what, I'm just going to ask that question right now. When it comes to Parks, which is obviously the closest to us, what can we say that Josh D'Amaro has done? What can we say that he has done or not done? What can we say for sure that is a Josh D'Amaro thing or isn't a thing? I don't know. We really can't say. Because we get the feeling that everything that has happened has been a Chapek decision. We just get that feeling. I have no reason to I have no factual evidence to back that up. It's just a feeling that we all kind of collectively have with a few outsiders. I don't know. That's going to be an interesting thing to follow up on in the next 6 months or so.
Magnificent and so peaceful.
It just feels so much easier to love Disneyland today. It really does. Just realized that my lav mic wasn't recording, so hopefully you guys heard everything I said before, because I cannot say all that again. My gosh. But yeah, so 2 years, a little over 2 years with Iger. I would say don't expect too much as a Parks fan. There's the Disney company is a very large operation, and Iger is a studio guy first and foremost. He's not a Parks guy first. Although, you know, I think we all kind of understand and know that he has a love and respect for the Disney parks because of what they meant to Walt, and he seems like a Walt guy. So I want to give him the benefit of that is going to be something of a priority for him. But there's much bigger long-term things that he needs to be focused on over that 2-year period.
He's telling the tale of how a woodpecker
People also want to say, hey, hold on a second. Isn't Iger responsible for the overspending? He was a big spender, spent $100 billion on Fox and Hulu alone. Plus, who knows how much for Lucasfilm. I think Lucasfilm was $8 billion. Pixar was $4 billion, I think, which doesn't seem like a lot now. You know, when you think about it, you could say, no, he didn't spend on those. He invested. Because $4 billion for Pixar, if I have that number right, I'm going off the top of my head, or even $8 billion for Lucasfilm, is a freaking bargain, it seems like, right now. But anyway, the $70 billion that he spent for Fox, a friend of mine, Chris, made a very astute observation on that note. Iger's job is to grow the brand, to grow the company. His job is to acquire, and from his perspective, is to acquire things that help to do that, to accommodate that. Acquiring Fox was a way to grow the brand, especially if he has a mandate to grow Disney+. It is not Bob Iger's job to negotiate the cost of those things. That is finance. That is Christine McCarthy or her team that is responsible for determining the price to be paid for Fox. They give him the price, and he just says yes or no. You know, he says, "Can we do this? Is it cost effective? Does it make sense?" And they say, you know, that's the rule there. He's not the one who set the price. At least I don't think it's 100% anyway. So to put all of that on Iger, I think is missing the bigger picture. For us Disney Parks fans, the bigger picture is the park. And how beautiful and wonderful this is, and if it can be restored into a place that we feel magic and feel
If you're a
happy
pirate,
to be here
you
as
don't
opposed
need to get up
to
early in the morning and go to
manipulated and cajoled and sort of wrung out with all of the microtransactions, you know, and the constant work and effort that we've had to go through to make going to the park possible. I think to a man, the folks that we spoke to so far today, they've all, you know, I think, what was it, 3 out of 4 mentioned reservations being a huge issue, and or just in the last guess about feeling loved and respected, and you know that's what we want from the park, and we'd be glad to hand over all the money if we could get just that. I talked to a friend I heard a friend mention on Twitter the other day that he back in the day, I'm hearing folks. Hi guys. There's some happy Disneyland fans over there on Tom Sawyer's Island. Oh, look how happy she is! Hi. $15,000-$20,000 a year that he would used to spend at the park, but not anymore, because he's, you know, A, he's got a budget, and 2, he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to because he doesn't feel like it's deserved.
That may be just another legend.
Just about ready to get on the Mark Twain and found some Disney Parks fans. Guys, what's your name? Where are you from?
Kyle, we're originally from Anaheim, Temecula now, so a little further.
Locals, Southern California locals then? Okay, so, oh yeah.
And I'm Bridget.
Okay, so guys, you know about the Chapek to Iger transition. What are your thoughts? Good news, bad news?
We are pretty happy about it.
You're happy about
Felt
it?
like an early Christmas present.
I said the very same thing this morning. Yes, I did.
I think we were excited that we already had reservations for today, because we were like, I feel like all the cast members are going to be a little lighter.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Yeah, you can.
So what was your number one, you know, issue that you might have had before?
I think that it was just very clear Chapek didn't care about guest experience, and he didn't care about like the magic of the parks,
yeah,
and like why Walt started them. We'd always, I don't know if you saw the Imagineering story.
I did.
But whenever you saw stuff with Iger, he kind of stood like Walt. Like when he would when he would like survey the new plans that were happening.
Yeah.
He just had this like air.
He has a Walt quality.
Yeah, he just had like a Walt quality that you felt like he cares about the park.
Respect and reverence.
Yeah. And coming from the 2 or 3 years that we've had Chapek, where like,
just under 3, I think. Yeah.
Where it felt very like every chance he could get more money, he's taking more money. So we don't expect prices to be lowered, because that would be a
prices are not going to go down. I'll tell you that right now. They're not going to go down.
But we're hopeful that maybe some of maybe Genie Plus might be rolled back, or like Fast Passes might come back.
Something like that, yeah.
Like that. Or just in general, the cast members will be treated better.
That would be a great start.
It would be amazing.
Yeah,
cast members have had a hard 2 years since they've been back. So.
Well, thank you guys. Happy Bob Iger Day.
Happy Bob Iger Day. Yeah.
Here's an interesting tangent in this conversation about Iger taking over. What is this going to do for Reedy Creek? For those of you unaware, this is something that we've been talking about a lot in the news recently. Reedy Creek is the agreement in Florida that allows for the Disney company to essentially run their own city, the city in which Walt Disney World resides. It's in the Reedy Creek Improvement District. Disney does not have to go through any sort of committees, any sort of approval process to do anything on their property. That includes roads, that includes infrastructure, that includes fire departments and police and all that stuff. They are in charge of the whole thing. They run their own city. In Florida, they're challenging that now. Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, is challenging that situation, and this was a result of Disney trying to get involved in the politics that were happening in Florida Florida basically said, okay, you want to get involved in our politics? Well, we're going to get involved with your business. It's a big deal. It's a big deal because it's a considerable advantage that Disney has over, let's say, Universal Studios, who have their own theme park, a very successful one in Orlando also. With Chapek out and Iger in, does that change the dynamic between DeSantis and the Disney company? Does that change how how that situation is going to resolve itself? I asked that question because for me it had felt personal in some ways between Ron DeSantis and Bob Chapek, because Chapek was very vocal. At first he tried to stay out of it, and then he got vocal about it, and then that's when DeSantis kicked in. Would he have the same courage, the same strength of conviction, the same combative nature with Disney under Iger's management? I want to say yes. I want to say that he would still want to fight this woke agenda. He's got a whole. It goes beyond Disney. It's And by the way, those are their terms. I know I didn't make up the idea or the term woke agenda, but that's their term anyway. That seems to be a passion project of his. So I don't think that'll change. But I do think it'll change the way that the two entities will talk to each other and negotiate. And I feel like Iger is potentially a better negotiator or a better handler of delicate personal situations, whereas DeSantis comes off as being a bit of a hothead. I feel like there is a potential. While DeSantis isn't afraid of Iger or Disney, there's a potential for him to be outplayed by Disney and by Iger. We'll see. But I do think that this is, if anything, it can only be good news for the Disney company as far as that situation goes. I feel like there is hope that they are going to be able to resolve that in a way that works for Disney. By the way, which brings up the other Florida situation, something that came up in our live stream last night as well. Disney was trying to move the entire Imagineering department to Florida, WDI. They're going to take them out of Burbank and into Florida, and that was really, really upsetting a lot of people. Now, that whole thing has been kind of slowed down. That process slowed down even under Chapek's management. So I'm not sure if that was going to become a thing or not, but I feel like this absolutely puts to bed any idea that they're going to move WDI to Florida. And if for no other reason, that I do feel like, because Iger comes from studios, he's a studio guy, he's an entertainment guy first, that he understands the value of being able to find and cultivate and curate talent, which Imagineering is talent. To lose talent in a place for parks needs talent, in the offices and here, on stage as well. Imagineering is not a very commonly held talent. There are only so many people who are really good at that kind of thing, and you're more likely to find them here. You're more likely to grow and have a prosperous Imagineering department here in California than you would be in Florida. So I do feel like this puts to bed any idea that they're going to make that move. And I get the feeling that last point, although it's a small point to you and I, his relationship with creatives might be the biggest difference between Chapek and Iger. And that Iger, you can tell, has a respect for creative personalities and the creative process. Obviously, there's that well-known story of Chapek's beef with Scarlett Johansson. And what that basically amounted to was his inability to relate with actors, with creatives, with anybody who's in the opposite side of the spectrum that Chapek clearly is on. Clearly does not understand, and which is wild because he's been a part of the Disney company for decades. but it's just not his natural state of being, whereas it is for Iger. And I'm hoping, and the hope is that extends also into other aspects of the Disney company, Disneyland, Disney parks, WDBI, as I mentioned, but just the health and well-being of what is potentially like the actual single biggest show that the Disney company does. The single biggest show that Disney puts on every single day, and has done it for 67 years, is the Disneyland and the Disney parks. They are the biggest show that Disney puts on. And a show like the sailing ship Columbia is not possible without there being, relying on high quality people doing their job at a high level and with the most possible support. And that includes maintenance, that includes, hiring the best people. That, it includes so much beyond just what it costs, in the bottom line. And fiscal responsibility, that's a component of it. But the show has got to come first. And that's why I think that if they don't get rid of either Kathleen Kennedy or Pete Docter or Josh D'Amaro, the presidents of those three other big, they're not doing anything with Kevin Feige. Okay, he's not going anywhere. But if they don't get rid of either of those three, I don't think he's going to get too hands-on. I don't think he's going to get intimately involved in any of those operations, even though they need help. I think the goal there is to, if they decide that they are fit, to let them do their jobs. Kathleen Kennedy's got decades in this business. Who knows what Josh D'Amaro's got, to be honest. But I have faith in Pete Docter, and I have faith in Kathleen Kennedy. I know people were going to disagree with me, but just because she's been around so much. But if not, then she's got people that she can rely on too. She's got people that she can depend on, like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. So I don't feel like he's going to get intimately involved in those situations. If they stick around, he's going to let them do their job. And that's what a leader should do. A leader should allow people to do the jobs that they were hired to do, and to do them well. They are obviously, capable people. At least you have to assume that's the case. You have to hope that's the case. He's not going to fix everything all by himself in 2 years. Get that out of your mind right now. Iger is not going to fix everything all by himself in 2 years. It's just not. It's not going to happen. But Josh W. gets the $5. Thank you. I'm late here. What do you think were Chapek's key missteps? His key missteps. I don't know if I could put it on any specific thing. It's just it's an accumulation of his general disdain for the people who actually pay their way in. He doesn't like Disneyland. He doesn't like us, and it showed. And he didn't even hardly try to hide it. He would say the words about the guests being everything or whatever. You would hear them say the words, but you never believed it. You always knew that we were nothing more than a conduit for cash. That's the only way I can put it. Because all of his decisions reeked of him trying to just wring out money from our wallets. You know what I mean? And you never would have felt that way. You never would have felt that way with Walt. Walt wanted to make money. He wanted you to spend money in the park, but he put you first. He said, I'm going to entertain you so freaking much that you're going to have a choice but to give me all your money. I'm going to give to you. This is Walt. This is a thing that I don't know why Disney management couldn't embrace this idea. Walt wanted to give so much that you were compelled. You were compelled to throw money at him. That you earned it, that you deserved to be treated with respect. You deserved to have a good show presented. The term that we use, good show or bad show, is a Walt term. Something that he used to say all the time. This is good show, that's bad show. Walt knew the value of good show and what it would mean in the long term. Not just today on the bottom line, but in the long term. You give people good show, they will come to you. If you build it, they will come. He was the first field of dreams. Disneyland is a literal field of dreams. Okay, Walt. Nobody had this idea. There was amusement parks, but the concept of a theme park, nobody had that idea. Walt was just like, I got this thing. I'm going to do it. I don't care if you think I can do it or not. I don't care. I'm going to build it anyway. Tell me I'm wrong. And he did it. He put the guest first. He put the guest first, and it should be that way always. Always. Never. It should never be, what can we do that people will want to spend money on? It's... Okay, I lost track of everything. And that, you guys, pretty much sums up my feeling. It's not about a specific thing he did or didn't do. That's just how I feel with Chapek in the lead. That's how it felt to me. Like, he didn't really care about the guest experience. He said he did, but he didn't. He didn't really care about us. He didn't see, especially annual pass holders, but I don't want to get into that. But I don't really feel like he was ever interested in how we felt. The disdain with which he used to speak about us, that day at the Wall Street Journal, when he was making that observation that we're just basically inferring that we're too passionate to be trusted with how to run a theme park, that we can't comprehend, you know, the difficulties trying to equate moving a churro cart 10 feet to a 6-hour wait at Tower of Terror or Mission Breakout. By the way, neither of which those two things have ever happened. You know, there's never been a 6-hour wait at Mission Breakout, and they've never just moved a cart 10 feet and people complained about it. But if they did move a cart 10 feet, somebody might notice, but it's not like anybody's shaking their fists and making a complaint at City Hall. He wants people to think that we're crazy, that we're too passionate, and we can't understand the intricacies in running a theme park, which is probably true. I couldn't run a theme park, but I know that you're full of it, Bob. You know what I mean? I know that you don't care about me. That much I can see. I am sensitive enough. We are sensitive enough. Disney Parks fans are sensitive enough and intelligent enough to know when we're being bamboozled. And they don't like that. Say what you will about Bob Iger and his abilities or whatever his shortcomings might have been, whatever problems he might have had in his tenure, his previous tenure. You know, namely what people talk about is, you know, the debt and all that stuff. Say what you will about Iger. I think that most everyone would agree that you feel like you're in better hands with him in charge, from the top down. You know, in all facets of the operation, parks, films, D+, cast members, you know, creatives, everybody involved, everybody is going to feel a little better with him in charge than they would have with Chapek. Chapek wasn't trusted. It never felt like an equitable relationship, I would say. Just listen to, there was a Tom Morrison, Imagineer, who doesn't work for the company anymore. Hey, how are you guys? Hi. Hi, guys. Tom Morrison had a great tweet. Says it all for me, you know. There is a low-key disdain, or there was anyway, and I felt like it went both ways, where it started with his disdain for creative types. So as I leave Disney Parks today, you know, I wasn't planning on making this video today. I had other plans for today. I actually had shot yesterday. I was here in the parks yesterday, and I shot a State of Disneyland video, whole thing, 45-minute video. Shot it, went wall to wall, bell to bell, through the whole park, as I normally do for State of Disneyland. It is now garbage. That video no longer counts. I have to reshoot that whole thing because it changes the energy of the conversation. This story changes the energy of everything here at Disneyland and in the Disney company. So I have to, maybe I might be back here tomorrow again after having been away from the parks for, you know, almost a week straight. I will be in the park again, hopefully tomorrow, to film another State of Disneyland report, but this time from the perspective of having Bob Iger at the helm, and then we'll be able to, you know, go back and reflect on that video a month from now to see how things are different. Till then, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this little breakdown of the news, the Chapek to Iger transition news. Hey, how you doing? I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you to those guests who took a moment to share their thoughts with me. That was as awkward, or I should say it is awkward for me. That's not something that I'm comfortable with. I'm out of my comfort zone when I do that. So But, you know, pardon me if any of it was cringe for you or the viewer. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to interviewing people. But I thought that would be interesting to get, you know, sort of a take of the people on the street, the guests in the park, and see how they feel. I kind of knew what I was going to get anyway, but there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's Fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. If you like our show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/FreshBaked. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Baked.